Disastrovan is a 1996 all-wheel drive Chevy Astrovan project. It was a vehicle that was destined for the junk heap, but I fixed it up and turned it into a log cabin on wheels. This video features my do-it-yourself hand-washing sink station that I designed, built, and installed in the Disastrovan project. In this video, I'll tell you why I installed a sink into my Astrovan project, give you an overview on how it works, show you how I built it so you could build one of your own, and then give you some final thoughts. So let's get started. Why did I put a sink in my Astrovan project? All right, coming at you from inside the van now. So the why is pretty simple. It's a simple tool for simple needs. Having a hands-free flowing water source, I think it's something that a lot of us take for granted. If you're traveling for a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even months at a time, or if you're living in your vehicle, having a hands-free water source is helpful. If I'm making food, instead of cross-contaminating something, if it's uncooked, I can come and wash my hands. I don't have to rely upon hand sanitizer all the time. This solves that problem. If I'm in bed and I've forgotten to go outside and brush my teeth and it's either raining or snowing or there's bugs outside, I can just kind of roll over and brush my teeth here. It's actually a pretty fantastic system. Those are the main two reasons why. So let me show you the overview on how this works. The system is incredibly simplistic. It starts with a NALGENE container as your water reservoir that goes into a ball joint valve by Brewmaster. That drains down into a steam pan. Those in the food industry or have worked in the industry will probably recognize this. It goes to a drain to a gray water line outside of the van, and that's it. Let me show you how I built it. For simplicity's sake, I've listed everything that you will need for this build in the description below, and as I go through the build, I will describe each of these pieces and how they correlate with the total build in total. Yeah, let's begin. For this build tutorial, let's start from top to bottom, starting with the NALGENE container. Effectively, I took the NALGENE water bottle, flipped it upside down, clamped it onto a couple of my workbenches, and drilled a 1-inch hole dead center on the underside of the NALGENE container. Next, we are going to attach the Brewmaster stainless steel spigot. Here is a diagram of the spigot itself. The NALGENE bottle will be in between parts 1 and 2. The stainless lock nut will be inside of the NALGENE bottle, while the red silicone gasket will be on the outside, giving it the solid seal. The trickiest part is getting the nut onto the threads. Insert the threads into the 1-inch diameter hole on the underside of the NALGENE bottle. With a little bit of luck, you should be able to get the threads started. I took a screwdriver, put it on the inside, and got the threads tight enough until I was able to turn the spigot and it self-tightened itself. I added water, checked for leaks, it worked perfectly, and there you have the water system. Next is the sink and drainage system, so we'll start with a steam pan. Same idea, flipped it upside down, clamped it onto my work ladders, and drilled a hole. This time we're going with a bigger bit. It's going to be 2 1/4 inch. While you're doing this, you're going to want to spray WD-40. This helps the bit move freely, it lubricates. Prepare for cleanup on that. Put a piece of cardboard down underneath and you should be fine. Next, we're going to want to open the Junior Duo bar sink strainer, take off all the nuts and gaskets and everything, and we're going to apply plumber's putty. So with plumber's putty, you pretty much do what I'm doing right here. You grab a little bit of it, you roll it into a long cylindrical piece, and then you wrap it around that outer circumference, right where I'm doing it right here. But please do a lot less than this. I did way too much for this application. It turned out to be fine though. After you place it on the inside of the steam pan, you put on your gasket and then your washer and start clamping down. And as you clamp that down, you're going to see the plumber's putty come up. This is normal. When you're done, clean that outside edge. Make sure that the sink strainer is not metal to metal. It's metal, plumber's putty, metal. That's going to help out tremendously. Make sure there's no leaks. And then once you've got it to a satisfied space, you're ready to apply the Camco drain. The Camco flexible camper drain, super easy to apply too. Basically, you just thread it on to the bottom of the sink strainer, and now you have yourself a complete sink with a gray water line out. For the installation, we will keep with the theme of starting with the top and working our way down. Here we go. So up top here, there is the NALGENE water reservoir, and it is strapped to this back support that I've created. It's kind of in the shape of an I, the letter I. The reason that I did that is so that I could put a volet strap all the way around. That is what's holding the entire water reservoir to the van. There's a little bit of wiggle, there's a little bit of play, but it's not bad. For a permanent installation, it works out really well. So what I mean by that is that up here, I have that hole cut was 1.5 inches. And then I just take the two and just tighten them on. I just tighten the threads. So I'll take the NALGENE, put it in place. The threads will stick out of the bottom here. I take this and then just tighten it on, and then tighten the two together, center them up, add the volet strap, and everything's strapped together and held in place. It works really well. I have no complaints about this system whatsoever. And you have a lot of control. And then it just drains out the van. Let me show you the installation of the sink. So this top piece that the steam pan is in, I simply just had to measure from left to right, front to back, cut a square. But first I needed to cut this square inside the square. Effectively just needed something which was a little larger than the inner diameter and smaller than the outer diameter so it could fit in easily. Preferably snugly. It was a little loose. I had to make a couple bracers with some felt, but it actually turned out a-okay, and put it into place. And that was it. Finally, for the sink installation, I'm going to show you the gray water line out. I made a 1-inch cut into the wood. But the gray water line out goes directly down. Then I did an angle cut, same 1-inch diameter cut, that goes over here, and that goes outside of the van, directly out. So again, run it by real quick. Water travels down through there, down through the gray water line, and out the bottom of the van. And it's that simple. There's no tank. If I want to, I can take a bucket and I can put it underneath the van to catch all the gray water line if I'm in a sensitive area. If I don't want to attract rodents or bears, that's one way to do it. But yeah, that's how the system works. Final thoughts. Okay, so one, refilling the NALGENE water reservoir. I have a funnel which is attached to a medical grade silicone tube that has a 3/8 inch inner diameter, so it can move a lot of water really quickly. Put it inside of the empty NALGENE water reservoir and refill it with another NALGENE container. This is 32 ounces. The other container is 32 ounces as well. So if you empty this, you can just pour the entire thing in, and it's super simple to keep track of. If this becomes empty, just keep extra NALGENE bottles in the vehicle to be able to refill. I didn't really talk about water flow. Water flow, if this lid is completely closed, it glugs. So in order to get water flow, you have to create a way for air to come back into the bottle itself. So there will come a point where you unscrew this lid enough that you'll get full water pressure. And so full water pressure on this is actually quite a lot. So I kind of keep it to something more like this, a bit manageable. The only thing with that is that when you go on a dirt road or a place that's going to be really bumpy, you want to make sure that you close that and you're all set. Thirdly, I'm not finished with this project yet. It's about 90% of the way done. I need to install splash guards. I need to polyurethane all of this, and then I might tile it. I might do a composite plastic. I'm not too sure yet. Stay tuned for that. But I didn't want people to get the idea that you can just make something, with wood and then pour a bunch of water on it. So I wanted to give this a run to make sure that everything works, and it does. Now I need to finalize and finish this so I can protect all the work that I just did. In the build photos, there are some extra parts, including another nozzle that I have, and there is a part that I left out, this NALGENE bottle carrier. I specifically bought it to slow down bacterial growth on the inside of here, so you don't get UV lights that come in and do a greenhouse effect and warm everything up. This was a little more than I wanted to spend. I probably could have made it out of better materials, but I just kind of wanted something I could throw on, and it actually works pretty well with being a gear shelf and the way that it looks, so that's cool. In the build photo as well, I have another water reservoir. It's just a larger one. That's just kind of an option for you if you have the space to put one. This is a standard 32-ounce bottle. Bam. Lastly, I achieved my goals. I have a functional sink. There's no electronic parts. If this does fail, it will just follow the path of least resistance. If this leaks, it will just go down into the sink and then drain out. Only thing I have to worry about is just making sure and double checking on the line to make sure that there are no leaks in the line. Speaking of which, that's another thing I really didn't talk about. I've made a false wall. So you can actually push this in, and it actually is pretty snug. So this is how I check for leaks. You can drop it and then pull it out. It's tension from top to bottom, not side to side. So it makes insert and removal a lot easier, but this makes it so I can check in there and make sure that there's no leaks happening. In here, I will probably do a composite plastic or a metal catchment in case there are any leaks. And then putting back the false wall is pretty easy as well. In conclusion, I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy that it's installed, and I hope that this video has given you folks some ideas for your build. And yeah, if you like this video, great. We'll see you on the next one. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Woo!